Hello, hi Saul. Good morning, good afternoon to you. I'm happy to be with you. I'm Ilektra, as you heard. I'm Ilektra Kouloumpi, and I'm here to tell you a story. To tell you the story of the city of Amsterdam and how we have started to implement a new economic model that actually creates a thriving future for the city. I work for an organization called Circle Economy, which is based in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. And our main aim is to support businesses, cities, and nations to implement a circular economy. We are about 50 people and 25 different nationalities. And we really work to deliver projects on the ground to show that the new economy can be practical and scalable. But today it doesn't find me in Amsterdam. Today finds me in Athens, in Greece, my home country. And instead of being there with you in Seoul, where I would love to get to know you and share the story, I'm here, facing these new realities, staying at home, not being able to move freely, fighting together with our deep collective fears. 2020, you must agree, has been a year of profound shifts and shakes for our society. A year where the deep faults of our system came up to the surface in front of our eyes. And it's about the same time where we start collectively realizing that we and our planet are in an emergency situation. And if we don't change the way we live and operate our systems, we actually have no future. We call this the decade of action. And it's just 10 years that if we don't take action, we won't be able to reverse the catastrophe. And all this changing and shaking of our world, it seems like it's shaking and changing our perception of things. And I feel within me, and I see it also in other people, a growing new perception of things, an embodied understanding that our health equals to planet health. And that we and all the living beings of this planet are part of one system. We are interdependent on each other and upon nature. And as our perceptions change, it seems that we will need also new values. We will need the rise of a new paradigm to move away from valuing economic growth at all costs, being addicted to the fantasy that we can grow and grow our economies endlessly with no limits in a planet that does have limits. And maybe it's time to shift towards prioritizing thriving for all and the planet. But what does it mean to thrive nowadays? And how can we create societies, cities, places that can thrive without destroying the planet, our home? This is the question that we have tried to answer by forming the Thriving Cities Initiative, a collaboration between Circle Economy, Donut Economics Action Lab, the Global Network of Cities C40 and KR Foundation. We aim to create thriving cities within the planetary boundaries. And to do so, we use the donut economic model and downscale it to city level. But what is the donut? The donut has been developed by the British economist Kate Raworth. And as it nicely says, this might be the only donut that could be good for us. What does this model do? Well, it actually puts in an ingeniously simple visual a complex goal, humanity's 21st century challenge, which is how can we meet the needs of all within the means of our planet? How could we create economies where we and the rest of nature can thrive? So here what it is all about. The diagram consists of two rings. The inner ring of the donut represents minimum standards of living, as they are also described on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. These standards entail the basic essentials that everyone needs to thrive, from food, clean water, housing, to democracy, peace, gender equality. According to the donut model, no one should fall into the hole of the inner ring in the center of the donut, because that would mean they don't have enough to afford the basic needs. The outer ring of the donut represents the Earth's environmental limits, from biodiversity loss and air pollution to climate breakdown. When we collectively pass the boundaries of the ecological ceiling, that means that we overshoot those planetary boundaries in a rate that the Earth cannot regenerate the life-supporting systems. So, within these two boundaries, between the social foundation that is on the inside and the ecological ceiling that is around, there is this donut-shaped space, this green space, where it is possible to meet the needs of all within the means of the living planet. This is the ecologically safe and socially just space where humanity can thrive. And our goal should be to find this sweet spot, the balance between those two circles. But what is the current state of our humanity and our planet? Well, the truth is that we are not doing so well. By looking at these red wedges, you see that we have only 10 years to limit climate change catastrophe. We have wiped out 60 or even 70% of all animal species. The air we breathe, we have spread plastics in every single corner of the planet and in our own bodies, in our babies that are being born. The air that we breathe in many areas is toxic. Our fertilizers that we use in agriculture are polluting the land, desertifying it, and entering in the food chain in our bodies. Our oceans are getting acid. And last but not least, this one, the one that is always so difficult for me to believe, really, is that the richest 1% of this world own half of the whole world's wealth. Well, these are really not good news for us. But the good news is that we have the power. We have the power to do something about it. And we can start. We can start by applying this conceptual, holistic, global model to real life, to real cities. And this is what we started doing in the city of Amsterdam, the first city implementing this pioneering model into practice. To put this model in practice, we needed to step back and start asking the right question. How to keep the holistic spirit that the donut brings, how to combine the social and environmental dimension locally and globally and make it relevant for cities. And all this is summarized in this very 21st century question. How can Amsterdam be a home to thriving people in a thriving place while respecting the well-being of all people and the health of the whole planet? To dive deeper, we have to explore the four interdependent questions. First, what would it mean for Amsterdam, for the people of Amsterdam to thrive? This is the local social aspect. Second, what would it mean for Amsterdam to thrive within its natural habitat, the local ecological aspect? Third, what is Amsterdam's impact on the health of the whole planet? Here we are thinking about the consumption of products and resources that have been produced elsewhere but are being consumed in the city. So what is the impact of the city elsewhere in these faraway places, the indirect impact? And fourth, what is Amsterdam's impact on the well-being of people worldwide? Again, here we think about the impact we have on the people working on the global value chains, to produce the products that we use here within the boundaries of the city. And the outcome is the four lenses of the Amsterdam City Donut, producing a new portrait of the city from four interconnected perspectives. The city portrait includes qualitative and quantitative information about the city, but actually can be enriched and updated with stories and projects and policies and initiatives that happen in the city and reflect the lived experience of the city and give it and bring it into life and turn it from a portrait into a city self. And after asking the basic questions, the next important thing to do was to make it a journey of co-creation. Because of the holistic nature of the donut, we brought different city change makers from different departments and fields. People that were not used to work and sit around the same table. And they had to work together in order to break through silos of thinking and create a dynamic participatory process. We used the donut as a tool to map and understand the current state of the city, and in order to design holistic strategies combining social and environmental benefits. For example, think about a strategy for housing. Our aim was to think, how could we design a strategy about housing, having positive impacts on health, education, climate, air pollution, or even gender equality? How can we really work with this holistic, synergetic thinking, synergetic benefits? And throughout the process, the group of change makers involved was becoming bigger and bigger. We included about 150 businesses and experts from the city, enriching the strategies with knowledge and experience from the ground. All of them, they were asked how each of their organizations could contribute with their activities to the shared vision of getting Amsterdam within the donut space. The outcome of the effort of the participatory journey was the development of a holistic strategy of the city, putting the donut at its heart. The strategy is focused in three important value chains: food and biomass, consumer goods, and construction. And I will give you some examples to show you for each of them the different strategic directions. On the food and biomass sector, one of the topics is how to promote short food chains so as to reduce the imports of food from faraway areas and enhance the urban and peri-urban agriculture. On the sector of consumer goods, the focus of the city is how to reduce its own consumption by 20% and promote reuse of products and actually foster circular procurement. On the construction, a lot of efforts have been focusing on how to create circular housing, reuse existing structures, and create housing with secondary materials that is also affordable for different incomes. And all this effort of the city has started to materialize in more than 200 projects and initiatives in different scales. And here I will show you just a few of them to give you a taste of the different topics and levels of activity in the city. This is the initiative of Amsterdam Made, a community of local makers, supporting local entrepreneurship and striving to reduce consumption by turning the industry fully circular. These makers try to create their products climate neutral, maximize the reuse of materials, and develop new business models, like the one of Ma Jeans, that actually takes your old pair of jeans to recycle it and give you a new one with a leasing contract. The next initiative is the initiative of donut deals. These initiatives have been developed in different neighborhoods of the city by residents and entrepreneurs. They follow the holistic principles of the donut, to develop actions that have both social and environmental benefits. Here you can see a project where local women from the neighborhood are given jobs to sew thick curtains to insulate the buildings of the neighborhood, to lower the energy bills, but also reduce the negative climate impacts. Here you see the bulk slaughterhouse, a project of the redevelopment of an old industrial area in a fully circular neighborhood, designed together with residents and entrepreneurs from ground up. The district performs as a living lab for closing the flows of water, energy, and sanitation, and has transformed significantly the local economy by transforming this unused land to a thriving neighborhood. And we see also many initiatives in the city focusing on securing sustainable and affordable housing. Here is the Community Land Trust in Bijlmer, which is an organization led by residents, acting as stewards of housing, ensuring that it remains genuinely affordable based on what people earn in the specific neighborhood, not just for now, but for every future occupier. And the most important movement that we see happening in the city is this bottom-up network of change makers, that they have been coming together, forming what is also known the Amsterdam Donut Coalition. This is a self-organized network, including different organizations, businesses, residents, institutes, and their aim is to share and co-lead the vision of how to get the Amsterdam within the donut. They want to make sure that this vision will not be something just stuck in paper, but it will become a lived reality in every place and every corner of the city. And if I really wanted to share with you what it really means to bring Amsterdam within the donut, I would need more like 15 hours than 15 minutes to give you the full perspective of all the initiatives that take place. But if I try to lift and summarize one thing that has really changed in the city, what has Donut brought to the city, what is the difference that it has made, I would then say that it has created a new narrative, a shared narrative that unites people from different backgrounds, political directions, different fields, that they all share and understand, which means how they can create Amsterdam as a thriving city within the planetary boundaries, something that they can all feel and they all want. And now they know and they understand that they need to work together to create a truly thriving city within the planetary boundaries. And this will require deep systemic change. It will require mindset shifts, new forms of governance, participation, new financing mechanisms, new values. This is a work that asks for us to work together to create a new system, a new city, a new world. Thank you very much, Saul, for having me. I hope you feel the inspiration to take that further with you.